Hello everybody. Welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're already a subscriber. In today's video, we're going to be flipping through my March pages for 2024 in my Hobonichi 5-year journal. So let's dive in. I absolutely adore this journal. I definitely have a love-hate relationship with it. And if I get behind, which I do have a tendency to do, I find that I fall in love with it all over again when I'm kind of playing catch up a little bit, because I get to look back on the previous year. So I'm working on 2024, which is almost my last year. 2025 will be my final year. And so sometimes I get to look back and see mistakes, or I get to see happy memories, or maybe not so great memories, but it's always such a wonderful pleasure to get all caught up or get a good chunk of pages done, which I got to do recently. So I thought I would give it a good flip and let you guys see all of my pages for March of 2024. So sometimes I actually will follow whatever theme I have going. So like these are all from the same sticker book, and I just grab that sticker book and use it as a jumping off point. It looks like I ran around in the rain to 3 different grocery stores, which is definitely a thing that happens with me. I will meal plan for like a week or so in advance, and it typically happens around the time that I've got like a get together that I need to go to, or like a Sabbath or a vacation that I'm prepping for. So I feel I'm just like endlessly running around to grocery stores. And sometimes it's just me trying to make one dish and I have to go to like 3 different grocery stores. It's a little bit ridiculous. I love looking back and seeing this really big picture from when I was doing a virtual voyage back in 2021. That's probably one of my favorite things about this page. I love this page for this year because I actually got to catch an entire live stream of Inky Quills, which is Adele Toomey if you don't know, and I absolutely love her. And these are stamps that she created that were in a it was called a creator box, that it was her and several other artists that were involved in it, that James Burke from James Luke Burke Creative, which is who hosted the virtual voyage. So I hope you're getting all the threads and piecing it all together, but her product was involved in that. And so she is really big into mixed media. She's a huge reason for how I got into Project Life. So I just wanted to do some really pretty watercolor and then use her stamps to talk about the live stream. I had dinner with Jen at 1910, which was fantastic. And it was like a bittersweet thing because it was the last time that it was the only time she's probably going to be able to come for this year. It may be later in the year, like around Christmas, but it'll be a really long time before she's back in our neck of the woods because she's having 2 hip replacements. But it was lovely to see her, but it was also really sad because she was like in a lot of pain, so we couldn't hang out very long. This is when my tooth and jaw pain really started. And now if you guys have watched any videos recently, then you'll know that I figured out that I had a TMJ flare-up. But at that time I thought it was my sinuses, which I mean, it very well could have been. I really like how this page turned out. I took the Coffee Monster Co. newspaper washi that happened in her anniversary sale, and if you look really close you'll see the March 5th 2024. So I really wanted to get that on this page, and it's like a big wide washi, and so I like ran it the whole length, pulled it back up, and then just ripped it in half so that it would have a top and a bottom. Also tried a new pizza place that day, loved that. I was remote and got a big old chunk of Project Life done this day. So I stayed home all day and I was out of the office. And these are all from the same sticker book. So some years I keep it, like these are from previous anniversary sale releases, like that little washi swatch, and my ninja fingers failed, which is rare. But there are some pages that are very cohesive and others that just look a hot mess. These stickers right here are actually from the same sticker book as this, which is a it's a paper or an Agenda 52, so a Hobby Lobby book. But I think it's like a homebody book or something like that, because there was the introvert sticker and I didn't really want to hang out and I was really not very motivated. I just really didn't want to people, and Jeff came to hang out and I was just not in the mood at all. And some of these pages actually mirror what they looked like in my Hobonichi Han for this year, which I really like as well. So I will kind of scrap lift for myself. So I did that with this page where I watercolored pink, and then I did these like soft pastel paint clouds, and then hand lettered Wonka in a gold jelly pin. I absolutely loved the new Wonka film. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. I actually did like a Willy Wonka marathon. And I still don't like the Johnny Depp version. Don't come for me. I'm just saying. But I absolutely loved the new Wonka movie. I thought it was very respectable, respectful. Respectful to the original. I felt like it was such a good prequel. A lot of the songs were super catchy. I rewatched it several times. The next day I did not have a particularly wonderful day. We had a birthday party to go to and I was not jazzed about it because I literally didn't even know the kid. I knew the parents of the child, but not the child himself. And I just felt really awkward because I was at a kid's birthday party where I don't have a kid, and I literally knew like the parents and one other person, and that was just bad. It was just bad. It was really unpleasant. The next day, I rightly so took some time to recharge. I took myself to lunch, went to Nordstrom's Rack to look for a few things for my mom because her birthday was the very next day, and that is a fantastic shot of her eating an entire bowl of rolls. We had a lovely time. I was also very hungry because I had the first full days of interviews, which is crazy to look back on because we've now had our new hire for like a month and a half. So that's really fun to look back on. The next day, I had another full day of interviews, and these were some tasks that I needed to take care of through the day as well. And then I met up with Jeff for a date night at one of our favorite burger spots near my office, which was nice. In this spread, it is not cohesive at all with what's going on. But I did do the entire workflow for April, and I kind of rant about this is really where things started to go off the rail with content. Like, if you guys have wondered why things got super crazy, I swear it all comes back to this point. So I had a Coffee Monster Co. order that was delayed, and when that happened, it was also like in the middle of us doing a bunch of interviews, and I feel like I barely got caught up, and then I got like some blockbuster knock you off your horse news like a month later from this, and I just got way behind after that again, and I'm doing okay. Things are looking good now, and I'm just trying really hard to just get everything back in order. So I think we're almost there. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just content creation's hard, peeps, and it's hard when you got a 9-to-5 and a garden and a boyfriend and a new hire. We're just doing the best we can out here, okay? The next day, I actually had a really long work day trying to play catch up, and okay, sorry, I was like, what? I thought I had written something down incorrectly, which I'm a want to do when I'm retroactively filling things in. But my apartment had a St. Patty's party, and I got to go, which was really nice because then I didn't have to cook dinner. But I decided to use the Lucky Charms washi, and you'll see it again here in a minute on actual St. Patty's Day. But I love getting that into the planner. The next day was a day of running around to a lot of grocery stores, doing some returns and getting all the stuff done with my car. I think this might be the earliest I ever got all my car things done, and I really love how perfect these little circle and check marks are. Like, I did so good. Gold star for me. And then I tried to relax a little bit, but most of it was like running around in the rain and I don't care for that. The next day we had a crawfish boil at Justin's. So I love this super cute little emoji with the mustache. So much food. Y'all, I ate so much bread. So Katie who has now taught me how to make sourdough and has infested my house with sourdough starter. So we are all sourdough all the time right about now. But this was such a fun day. But she brought a loaf that was just so good. And then I had brought this stuffed mushroom dip. And it's basically cream cheese, sausage, and mushrooms. Like, that's all you need to know. And I just like ate just like globs of it on sourdough bread. So I was very full. And I was drinking, which exacerbated the whole situation. I think I had one crawfish. It was hilarious. The boys literally stayed up and howled at the moon. I think they came to bed somewhere around like 3, 4 in the morning. And so it was a very late start. And then we went to Jeff's to eat some Guinness beef stew, which I actually have a DIY sticker of that I have not put in here. That is over on the craft table. So you guys will see that next year, I guess, when I flip it. Or I'll actually probably do like an end of the year flip. I usually do. The next day I made my first batch of lemon bars after a very full day of appointments. This was also a part of the year, or like this year anyway, we just seemed to go through like a batch of like long appointment folks. So it was literally like appointments were starting at 11 and like the last appointment was going in at 4:30, and an appointment takes about an hour and a half. So I wasn't getting home until like 6 o'clock, which is like very abnormal for me. So I was very, very tired. But I was definitely feeling lemon bars at this point. Lemon bars became like an obsession. I definitely want them again very soon. I'm actually treating myself after this video to some very delicious donuts. I'm super psyched about them because one of them is lemon curd filled and it is one of my absolute fave donuts. So very excited to get to the end of this as my prize for finishing a big chunk of journaling and getting the video out on its actual day, which is nice. Better late than never, you know? And then this is everything that I made for Ostara. So I made a croissant bake, which was absolutely divine. It was croissants cut up, just kind of thrown in there with like an egg mixture. You dunk them in egg mixture first, and then I sprinkled some bacon in there, and I had like little folds of ham, and it was so good. And I put some chives on there, sprinkled a Gruyere Swiss mix. It was A+, guys. Absolutely delicious. And then Jeff helped a ton. He helped cook the lamb. He vacuumed the house. He was just top-notch boyfriend and thusly very well rewarded. This is a little stuck together, so we're going to be a little gentle. I accidentally put this big sticker right here and then like realized and had to very carefully take it up. I was very cranky the day before my birthday because I think a lot of things about this. I was kind of upset that I was having to work on my birthday, but I'd gotten it off the year before, and it was like on a random Tuesday. I was also just not in a good headspace with all of the late appointments we had been working. Like I was kind of long overdue for a break and starting to get really fussy, and it was really showing. I was also getting really annoyed with the fact that I thought that my birthday was basically going to get shanghaied from underneath me, that I was gonna end up like not well rested and a little run ragged, and that is kind of what happened before the weekend was all the way out. Now being able to look back a few months, I can 100% see why some of the things that were going on, but still it didn't make it any better in the moment, mind you. So definitely a cranky day. The next day was my birthday, and I legitimately did eat like a hobbit, which was so much fun. I basically ate like little meals all day long. There's a vlog for it if you guys want to go check it out. I vlogged the whole day, and you get a really cute wink from Jeffrey in it, which was great. That's Jeffrey and holding his ice cream and looking very excited. I don't know why the color on this came out so weird, but he just kind of looks Oompa Loompa-ish. But I just kind of talk about eating like a hobbit. And then I was kind of in a icky headspace where I was feeling, and I think this is why I was probably cranky the day before. I just felt really disappointed that I wasn't in New Zealand, which was the goal to be in New Zealand on my Hobbit birthday, and I'd kind of been, you know, fixated on that for a really long time, and I had hoped to go to Italy for my 30th, so I was just kind of like in my feelings of feeling like a failure that I hadn't gotten to these big monumental things that I wanted to do, and I wasn't looking at all the things that I have done or been able to pull myself up from and been self-sufficient in. So yeah, it was just not a high point at all, but I had an absolutely wonderful day. So there's that. The next day I was actually off, and I started to kind of calm down a little bit, and I tidied up the patio a little bit more. I started my seeds. I had a workout and was like trying really, really hard to get to the end of Lord of the Rings so that I could, specifically Fellowship of the Ring, so that I could watch the movie, because that's when their birthday is as well. So there was that. And then I did not finish, spoiler alert, in time. And then we were going on an adventure to North Georgia the next day, so I wanted to get to bed. The next day we went to Ball Ground, and we tried a place called the Burger Bus. If you're ever in Ball Ground and you're looking for something fun to do, the Burger Bus is so cute and the food is so good, and it's maybe about 10-15, I think it's like 10 minutes away from Gibbs Garden, which was absolutely beautiful. There was like massive like hills, hilled fields of daffodils. I love how this is somehow supposed to give you guys context, but it was absolutely beautiful, like to look out over this like wide area and just see nothing but daffodils just in bloom. It was absolutely gorgeous. And a bunch of the tulips were in bloom. The Japanese gardens were also breathtaking. Like, I would love to go see the Japanese gardens in the fall when they're in bloom as well, but all the cherry blossoms were blooming, which made it look just very nice and springy and serene. So that was really nice. And the next day, this weekend was like very full. It was very, very full. The next day we went to his papa's house for his papa's birthday, and I took this. His grandfather is so childlike and innocent. Like, he has been through crazy stuff in his life, but he is just got the best demeanor and just the kindest heart, and is so playful still at his age. I think he's in his 80s now. I need to get some clarification on that, but he is just, oh, he's so lovely. And so I got this picture of him being funny and pretending to take a big bite out of the cake and put that in there. But it was very good. It was very cold. We actually ended up getting sunburned because it was so cold that we were all just trying to stand in the sun to get warm, and it was like the shirt I had on, like I had like a button up that was open, and I had like a tank top on underneath, but the area that was exposed actually did get red, so I did get sunburned there and on the top of my head a little bit, which is funny because it was absolutely butt kicking cold. Monday, what you gonna do with them? Throw them in the trash. But it was a very full and busy Monday, and I really didn't have a restful weekend, so I was probably not in the best headspace. But yeah, I did end up shocking myself that even with late appointments, I went to Jeff's, and we started watching this show that was called like Homicide New York, and it's on Netflix if you want to watch it. But like, I think it's pretty much the first episode. You know, you get a good ways into the episode and you're watching the timeline, and then you realize, oh my God, this is going to cross over 9/11. And I've talked about several shows that I've watched that have been really good, like 9/11 reference points or things like that. This was just a very small nugget of this particular episode, but it did make my mind kind of like explode because, you know, obviously we think about the horrible tragedy of that day and just like how many lives were lost, and how we think about how that ripple affected out and affected so many things. But one thing that I hadn't really considered up to that point was any active investigations that were happening at that time. So they were investigating a homicide and literally had to halt brakes. The entire city was, you know, all hands on deck to aid and support in the cleanup and the recovery efforts, and it just like had to halt for a while. And it's just not things that, it's interesting that I'm still uncovering things. I mean, I was in the 4th grade when this happened, and I'm still uncovering things now at 33 that I didn't think about at that time or anywhere in the last few years, even though I've watched many documentaries. If you're looking for another really good movie or something to watch on that, Worth is incredible, and really just will blow your mind of something that you probably never considered in a tragedy like that. Absolutely amazing movie. But yeah, so that was Monday. That was a weird turn. I was very much using like this working washi, which, okay guys, pre-order for Coffee Monster Co. went live like yesterday. What are you guys most excited about? What are you guys getting? I'm actually going to be really reeled in. Of course, I will show you guys the haul when it gets here in like August, because pre-order, there's literally a 3-month timeline at that point. I'm pretty clear on what I'm getting, and it's pretty respectable in terms of like, it's definitely not a crazy haul. I was seeing people on like post their pictures, and like, no shame, but like people buying like 10 and 12 rolls per design, and I'm just like, what are you doing with that? Are you wallpapering with that? Like, obviously I figure some are reselling or doing, you know, swatches and stuff like that, and I have opinions on that I'm not going to share here. But moving on, I will share that order when I get there. This day I had more interviews because Heather, who was one of our applicants and I was really excited about, did not work out. But I was also really happy that we weren't like rushing into a choice and we didn't have to, even though we knew gen surgery was coming up at the time. Like, really, we wanted to take the time to pick the best candidate and the perfect person for the position, because it was to replace me. So I knew what that person needed to be, and we had the time to train them, and I was still doing my job. Obviously I wanted to get them in there so that I could move on to my promoted position and keep moving. But all in all, like, we weren't in like a crazy rush. Like, there was no like serious rush anyway. The funnier part of this was like, I kind of discovered that, because I hate Tuesdays. I, like, with a passion, hate Tuesdays. And this was the point where I was like, who am I that I now come home and work out and read on a Tuesday? Because normally I come home and I just like am horizontal on a Tuesday, and I need to dive headfirst into takeout container because I can't. So I did think it was funny that for a while there I was coming home on Tuesdays and reading and doing the elliptical, and I was pretty consistent with that. So I thought that was pretty funny. And I also posted my April spreads in the Coffee Monster Co. group, which is also very funny because I ended up like not watching, I think, any content or reading anything related to the artist the entire month. I did some garden work the next day. So I got everything planted that didn't need a starter. So that was like my carrots and my spinach, which is crazy because my spinach is doing so well. I've got 2 spaghetti squashes that are out there and going. My carrots should be ready to pick soon. I think they have like a 75 to 80 day mark. So we should be right about there, if not like honing in on like 90. So they've been going for a minute, so they should be ready. Unfortunately, all of my berries had to be thrown out, and it was really a user error situation where I'm not 100% certain that they were alive when I bought them, because I didn't come home and like unpackage them to see if they were okay. I literally brought them home and set them on the counter for like a good minute. And then I definitely know now from like looking at pictures and like reading and things like that, that I put them in the ground dead. So we're just gonna try again next year, and it's gonna be fine. The next day I redid my taxes, found out I had to pay, and we had very late appointments. So I was not in a happy mood. but I also was powering through continuing education that had to be due at the end of the month that I had really dragged my butt on, and finally finished so that I could renew my license over the weekend, because you kind of have to finish the education and then like let your credits hit your account and then you can renew your license. So my insurance license is renewed. I went to Meatballers and started listening to Cowboy Carter. I listened to Cowboy Carter, I think, for 2 days, and I actually have been listening to it like in the car the last 2 days that I've driven. So like I'm come full circle. I went to Mom's for just a brief visit, just to hang out, get my birthday Easter basket, say hey to the bunnies. The birds were nesting, and so I don't know that they had hatched yet. I think they hatched like 2 days later or something like that. It was really quick after that, but the eggs were there, and my mom will like leave mealworms for them up there, and they return every year, or at least that same species. So I'm not really sure, but they always kind of take up residence there. But I have a really big soft spot in my heart for spring at my mom's house, because it's very whimsical and it's very, it's just whimsical and magical. Like there's always deer in the yard. We don't look like every house on the block. There's frogs that come back to the same post every year. There's birds that come back. There's hummingbirds that use the same spots. It's just, it feels like no matter how crazy my life has gotten at any point in my life, like that's always been a constant. And I think that there's some comfort that roots deep in me around that time of year, and to just be in that space to like see spring unfold and have continuity and have consistency there, when everything else seems so inconsistent. So that was a really nice day. I like how this page turned out, because I literally scrap lifted it too, but I freaking love the hand lettering. I love the stickers. I love the vibe. Very cute. And there's one more day. I was like, wait, are there 30 or 31 days in March? I did some journaling. This is actually when that order arrived. So it was the breaking news, Happy Hobbies, Winnie and Friends, and Twinkle Twinkle. And Twinkle Twinkle has like this, like its thickness because it's glitter. So I love that. But that's how big that washi is. I've used Happy Hobbies on a couple spreads. And I quite prefer the yellow Winnie and Friends. So I don't know how much of the blue I'll use. I hope she redoes it in yellow again soon. What else is happening? We had very chill plans. Jeff, okay, so Jeff was supposed to be working out at the property, and it all went super left because the piece of equipment that he was using apparently was not graded to handle what he was doing, even though he was told it was, and a tree limb literally like smashed through the center of the machine at like towards his face. Thank God he had on like protective eyewear and headgear and stuff, and he was totally fine, but it was enough to rattle him and obviously break the machine. So we ended up having street tacos and tequila at his house, which was not my plan. I was very slowly starting my day and really hoping for a quiet, crafty day. Definitely did not happen. And then the next day, I went to Home Depot to get some additional supplies and bought my watering can, so I felt very official. I basically used all the gift cards my mom gave me to place a Target order, as well as get all the soil I needed from Home Depot. So these are like the big containers, but it actually arrived super early. So like I literally got the gift cards this day, probably placed the order this day. and then it was here, and I did not expect that. And this is when the Coffee Monster co-order arrived, or it might have been this day. I don't really know because I wasn't here to check the mail. So I don't know how it ended. I think it was a mistake that I swatched it on this page, but this was the day I actually got it out of my mailbox. When it actually arrived is still up for debate. But that does it for March. I cannot wait to do an April flip through with you, and we'll do that as soon as I can. And until the next video, enjoy creating your own little wonderlands, and thank you guys so much for your patience and support. I love you all so much. Thanks guys. Have a great night, day, morning, wherever you are. Bye.